to feel
the power.
This is Colin Crandall over there, and myself, Adam Roorda. We are bringing you another amazing episode of MMA Power Hour. We're super stoked to be doing this just like we do every week here. Got to say thank you real quick to our awesome sponsors, our top sponsor and partner actually helping get word out about the show, Nesa's Hemp. Make sure you go on over to mmaph.nesashemp.com to get yourself a bottle of their full spectrum hemp oil. It is the best on the market. It is CBDA product, cold pressed hemp oil that is amazing for athletes and non-athletes alike. It really helps with absolutely any ailment you have. I've been taking it for a while, and I know Colin has as well. Absolutely amazing product. Again, that's mmaph.nesashemp.com.
Absolutely. And you guys know that there are some products out there that possibly don't even have the ingredients advertised in them. One thing I've gotten to know for having occasionally checked out herbal things for the past 35 years in my life is that you can usually have a smell if there is the proper green herbs in there. And so in Nesa's product, you can smell the active ingredients, and so they're not trying to rip off anybody or put in nothing and make you pay something for just some placebo. It really is really great quality CBDA for my Canadian friends. It's CBDA.
And to get that real quick here, it's mmaph.nesashemp. You see it how it's spelled out right there on the screen. mmaph.nesashemp.com.
And that way you can get a discount. That'll also help us out a little bit too, so we really appreciate it. About to sneeze.
Yeah, it doesn't cost you extra to help us out or help yourself out. No. It actually gets you a discount by using that mmaph.nesashemp.com.
Do what my late father used to do, Dr. Crandall. My dad would say, let's make things a win-win situation. Help out your favorite show here, your good buddies here, and help yourself out with a really good product.
And we'll bring up real quick the best coffee on the planet. It really is the best. It is premium coffee. In fact, you can get CBD coffee, not CBDA, but they do have CBD coffee, and you can get that on over at mymochatribe.com, and they're giving all of our viewers and listeners a little bit of a discount, 10% off your purchase. And all you gotta do is go to mymochatribe.com, and on checkout, enter in MMA Power 10.
Absolutely. So these are really good products. That's really good stuff there. Guys at Mocha Tribe are are really wanting to work hard to make great stuff for you. They want you to join the tribe at Mocha Tribe. Really good stuff. You know, Dr. Adam Roorda, it's an interesting time to be an American now. I'm kind of in the standby and wait mode. You know what that means?
I sure do. Hurry up and wait, military style.
Pretty
right?
close, but in this situation, I'm standing by and waiting to see what the Obama-Harris administration is going to instruct Joe to do next.
Oh man, whatever.
Just waiting to see. You know what I mean? It's going to be fun. That we know.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
That's politics. That's for a different show altogether.
Yes, it is. That was for the Lion Fist Live next week episode. Wait, no, that was last on in 2018, wasn't it? Darn it.
I need to bring that back. I just don't have enough time with this show.
I would love that. You know what you got to do also?
Netflix deals going on. And
you got to, you know what you should do though, man? Would be fun if you brought that back. Bring back the exact hair that you used to have back then, the exact haircut, and then bring back the 3-year younger Adam attitude when you didn't maybe have as much knowledge of MMA or broadcasting, and just pretend you're back in time and say what you would have said 3 years ago. So that way there'd be no lack.
Well, I have the knowledge. The thing is, from 3 years ago, I was just getting smoked out of my gourd before I'd go on these Lion Fist. Yeah, before I'd go on and do these Lion Fist live shows.
That's right.
I also didn't have the resources I do now. We've built up quite a little empire here with MMA Power Hour. But,
that's true.
Yeah.
That was always fun, man. I'd see you on there. I'd go, there's Adam, but he's doing the Lion Fist. And then, yeah, you would have some interesting stuff, man.
I'd go off on weird conspiracy theories.
Yep.
And I don't even know what I was talking about then, but I guess a lot of people are like, yeah,
they're like, man, we love this Lion Fist Live, man. That was awesome, dude. You were about 135 pounds or something like that.
I was a little more than that. I was about 140, but yeah.
That's it, man. Those times,
I'm hitting like 180, 190 now.
That's it,
I don't look it, but it's there.
That weight is there, man. It's the good weight. Anyway, let me see. We have a few minutes before our guest is going to call.
Yeah, and I don't even know his Skype.
Yeah, he's probably working on that right now, and he's probably going to call us. Let's just give him the 5 more minutes though before we distract him. We have a guest who did have to make a kind of a somewhat unexpected road trip, so he's on the road and is going to try to everything he can do to accommodate the interview, and so we're going to make that happen in the next few minutes, and we'll reach out.
You see it right at the bottom here. So just so everybody does know, Chase Sherman is on the road and gonna do what we can to get him here real soon.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it may be towards the end of the show.
Right.
And again, if that still doesn't work out, we'll try to have him back on. I mean, he's gonna try in at both times, but we're gonna see as far as the quality since he's on the road.
So, exactly. Do they have the April 17th UFC card up there yet?
Oh, of course they do.
Let's see, because that should have him on it. Maybe they don't. You say you said of course very quickly.
Well, yeah.
That's like 4 cards from now, or 5 cards. Oh, there's a 10th. Wait, just April 10th, so it'd be one more after that, I think, unless he's on the 10th. Wait,
they don't have the full thing.
They only have the main event. Okay, so he's fighting on the Costa Whitaker card. That's interesting. They got Whitaker about 2-1 favorite over Paulo.
Right now, you can see after that last fight, we kind of talked about that in the last episode, how, if you just lost a fight, the Vegas odds usually go in the favor of the other person. And when I say lost a fight in this case, it's Paulo Costa coming off a nasty loss.
Yeah, that was just a bad one to Israel.
Izzy,
yeah, absolutely. You know what's weird? I'm looking at the card above that, the Bellator April 16th card. I mean, Davis and Nemkov should be a good fight. I think they fought before when it was really close. But Anthony Johnson, Rumble Johnson against Yoel Soldier of God Romero. That's a really interesting fight. You know what's interesting about that, Adam? They've got, I think, Rumble a slight favorite, don't they? Yeah, they have. No, they don't. They have Rumble a dog. I mean, let me tell you guys this. I've interacted with Yoel Romero in person and Anthony Johnson, both very, very good guys. Yoel Romero takes a lot of heat, but he is an amazing guy at like 41, 42 to keep doing what he's doing. But look at how this plays out. You've got a man who's fought at heavyweight and won like 90% of his fights at heavyweight. And then he's fought at light heavyweight and he's won 90% of his fights at light heavyweight. He's going up against a man who I think 7 years ago fought a couple of fights at light heavyweight and only won 2 out of his 3 fights, or 3 out of 5 or something. I think it was less than that. I think Romero only won 2 out of 3 fights as a light heavyweight rather. And then he's been at middleweight for the last 9-10 years of his career. He's going back up. He's older by like 6 years. Rumble hits substantially harder than Romero, and fought at heavyweight. He's like 4 inches taller. He's younger. He hits harder. Granted, Romero's wrestling is better, but he just doesn't, not only that, here's what I'm going to say, and I know Adam will agree with this. I have a friend, guys, and Adam, who is getting close to 40 years old, who was a good wrestler. And one of the things he mentions is DC proved if you keep focused on it, you're not going to really lose that much in your wrestling. But as you get older, you'll start losing a couple of steps. Romero, I think, over 40 now, realizes that his wrestling skills didn't stay as polished as Daniel Cormier. Maybe it's because Cormier was at AKA and there was all these other killer wrestlers there. But I think Romero is not the wrestler he was 10 years ago, and he's not half the wrestler he was 20 years ago. So I just think that I think Rumble's got his number all day and all night. I don't see how Rumble's a dog there. I hate to say it, but I think Rumble may be the first guy either ever or in a long time that just completely knocks Yoel Romero's block off. I could be wrong, but
I'm gonna have to disagree with this just because Rumble's been out long enough.
A little bit, but
long enough to have ring rust.
I guess possibly. If it weren't for that, though, you'd be with me. Then you're saying,
yeah.
I see your point. So you're right. That's always a question. Anyway, let me see.
And also another thing I want to bring up is I don't think Romero's wrestling has really diminished all that much. It has a little bit.
He just never seems to want to use it, though, for some.
He never seems to want to use it, but I think switching over to,
going up in weight, maybe he might want to use it more or something.
Yeah, going up in weight, but also actually, the more I think about it, going over and dealing with Scott, he's probably hearing the same thing because Scott is very adamant about having people stay on the feet.
Yeah, he likes more striking. Yeah, like he used to say when he owned Strike Force, this is called Strike Force, not Wrestle Force.
Yeah, he's a lot more vocal about it than Dana was over at the UFC. And I don't know.
If he stands a strike to a Rumble, he's done. He's done. Like I'm telling you, everyone agrees, I'm sure. I don't know. I mean, the bottom line is the odds makers have some idea, but I honestly think, and I like Yoel Romero, but I honestly think that a former middleweight facing a former heavyweight who's taller, longer, younger, and hits 3 times harder, unless Romero's just going to all of a sudden become this great wrestler who uses wrestling, and even then, I don't know. I just, I think Rumble. That's Rumble all day. But let's see what we can do with Chase here. Doc, since we're having to distract anyway from the show to connect with him, should I just call him to make it easier? Or would you recommend I try to do this with text first?
Text.
Okay.
Text with your hand, too, if you would there.
Okay.
Yeah, man, there's... you know what? Bellator's piecing together some amazing cards here. And, I'm pretty impressed with what they're coming up with. And, the week before... is it just the week before? You got Lyoto Machida and Ryan Bader. Man,
yep,
man,
it's
gonna be
interesting if Machida, as you can see, the odds makers don't feel that's such an man, but if Lyoto Machida can maybe pull out the best of himself in the last few years, that could be an man fight. Otherwise, but then you know what, Bader recently got smashed, so I can see that could be competitive. They're both, actually, Lyoto's the only former UFC champion. Bader was close, but never held a title. But that could be interesting. It's an interesting matchup because of Machida being who he is. It's his interesting movement and stuff.
100%.
But it wouldn't surprise me if Bader was all over that. We got a couple of our fighters coming up in fights there. Belal Muhammad, let's talk about that. Belal Muhammad, we interviewed about 3 months ago. Such a nice guy. He's looked great. He's been on a tear. He's an amazing guy. I saw Paul Felder go live with Michael Chiesa yesterday. Watched that for a little bit. Adam's nodding his head. Felder's been a longtime teammate of Belal Muhammad, and so he picked him to win. But what surprised me was Chiesa also picked him to win. I don't know if he was just picking people he likes, or I don't think he gave a damn what Felder would have said, because I'm sure Felder would have said you're entitled to your own opinion. But Chiesa picking Belal. Belal is a dog in this fight. He just fought a month ago. So they're having a guy, well, it's interesting. They're having a guy who just fought a month ago go against a guy who hasn't fought in like 2 years. Neither are ideal. Which would be less ideal in your opinion, Adam? Not having fought for 2 years, or having to have had a fairly tough fight 4 weeks ago?
2 years ago
would be worse, you're saying?
100%.
Yeah.
I think ring rust is a lot worse than coming off a tough fight recently.
Okay, so that's obviously not really what the odds makers are feeling, having Leon Edwards. Although, you know what? If Edwards had fought more recently, they probably would have had Leon a bigger favorite. I would love to see Belal win this fight. I would. He's a great guy, and I don't know Leon Edwards from Adam. But I know Adam, but I don't know Leon. But I think he's got a chance. I just think that the odds makers probably have this right if you look at their accomplishments on paper, but that ring rust is a question. Edwards is so damn tricky though, but Belal is really, coming into
he's coming into himself as a fighter, and really grown and shown a lot. And yeah. I think I think they have it backwards, Colin. I really do. I'm going in on this. I'm going to wait a little bit to see if the odds go more in Edwards' favor, kind of like you're saying, because it might.
How much of that are you doing though because of the layoff? What if Leon had fought 4 months ago?
I'd be going with Belal too. I just believe in him that much. I think he's a beast in there. I think he's underrated, right. and I think he's going to come in and really show up. And I am. It should
still be an amazingly close fight, though, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. I think this is going to be a close one. Whoever catches the other one, there's a high high chance that this is going to be a strikers match. But at the end of the day, too, I could see this going the full distance, all 5 rounds.
Yeah, I could too. I really could too. It's an interesting short notice, somewhat short notice fight. I don't even think it's 4 weeks. I think it's 3 weeks when Bilal fought last. But anyway, it'll be interesting. You know, the co-main, I can't. Sometimes they have the stuff here on best fight odds wrong in the order, because I know that they are the main event, but I cannot see how the next card was not the next fight listed there. I guarantee you was not the co-main. Let me see. Is that?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it this way.
Yeah, yeah.
Do this.
Okay, so with Chase, he's probably just getting, pulling over. Is it, it may be easier if I were to call him, or do you think that's going to throw off our sound system and other crap here? Not for the interview, but just to see what's going on.
Just do that real quick.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and bring up the point that we are over on Fight TV as well as the Hannibal TV. So we're all over every smart television. If you want to go ahead and download the Fight TV or access the Fight TV app on smart TVs, we're on basically every single version of smart TV out there. Just go to FITE TV, and you'll find us on their channels there. And again, if you're on the Hannibal TV, go on over to FITE.tv on your desktop. Make sure to subscribe so that way you get the updates. And if you're on Fight TV, check us out over on the Hannibal TV. Make sure to subscribe to the Hannibal TV and follow us over there as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you don't even have to download the app if you don't want to. It's a great app. It's free of charge. And 90% of the programming is free of charge. Nothing tricks you into paying anything. If you wanted a pay-per-view, then it would let you know what the cost is for that particular pay-per-view. But for the programming, is free. There's a lot of great stuff. So if you didn't want to download the app, though, all you need to do is go over to fight.tv on your laptop or your desktop, and you can access our shows there as well without even downloading the app to your phone. If you're tired of having too many apps, or your wife's complaining there's too many apps, or your whoever, your girlfriend, and for women, your boyfriend, or even women, your girlfriend, men and boyfriend, whatever you have, God bless you. If anyone's complaining and you don't want any more apps, then go to fight.tv. Anyway, we are working on getting Chase. I know he is working on it, so hopefully we will possibly be getting a Skype call from him any minute. But let's look and see what we're looking
co-main
at.
is Serkinov against Ryan Spann.
That makes sense, and that's an interesting fight. Both guys have had their ups and downs. Serkinov, let's see what they're both coming off of. Serkinov is coming off of the win against Jimmy Crute. Yeah, Peruvian neck that, but that was like a year and a half ago, and Crute's been on a tear since then. Ryan Spann is coming off, I think, a close win against Sam Alvey. No, he lost. He got stopped by Johnny Walker, and that was only about 4 or 5 months ago. So Spann was on a killing streak before that. In fact, I think, is that his only loss for Ryan Spann? You want to go back to what Spann's record is? Oh no, he's got more losses than that. But he hadn't had a loss for a while. He was on a 9 or 10
only lost
fight
in the UFC, and he's been in the UFC since what, 2018?
Yeah, so that actually, he was 4-0 in the UFC going into that Johnny Walker fight and lost. So he's going to be determined. He's going to want to get back on the warpath. I know he's training there with our previous with a guest from the past, his teammate Kennedy Zechukwu, who is also part of Fortis MMA. Kennedy coming off that amazing performance against Carlos Olberg, I think it is, the guy from City Kickboxing, Izzy's team. And fight of the night, they both got 50 grand, and they deserved it. But that's going to be an interesting fight. And the odds makers have Misha Serkinov, slight favorite. I think Spann's a live underdog there, but not a big dog there. It's fair.
I mean, it depends on the books. He's pretty even on some of them.
Somewhat, you can get 1.5 to 1 or so, depending on where you are with Spann. Actually, even less than that. You're right. It's he's anywhere from plus 105 to plus 113, and then the other end minus 105. What would be the third fight on that card? Is that going to be
let's do this. This is the best resource for this. So we've got Dan Ige
against Gavin Tucker. That's an interesting matchup. Dan Ige, I think, last fought with that short notice fight going against Calvin Kattar, wasn't it? About maybe a year ago. You can't see it from there, but and then Gavin Tucker, 13-0. He's on a killing streak. The Canadian's a beast. Another jiu-jitsu guy. It's funny. A friend of mine told me he keeps on getting confused between Sean Brady and Gavin Tucker. And I think they're 2 weight divisions apart, so one is a lot bigger than the other one, but both really good submission guys, although I think Tucker is also really good on his feet as well. But, then a quick turnaround from Manel Kape. It's interesting. Kape, in his first fight, goes up against Pantoja and did lose, like we both predicted, but he fought tough. And then 2.5 week or 2-3 week turnaround, they're putting him back into action off of a loss where he did kind of get somewhat dominated, but a much lower quality opponent than Pantoja. I've heard both lines of thinking on that. I'm curious to see if any of you guys are watching, if you have any thoughts. One thought is that, you know what, he's a prospect. He definitely wants to get that bad taste out of his mouth and get on the winning track in the UFC after losing to Pantoja on February 6th. So it will be about a full month. Yeah, about a full month. And that it's actually smart to give him someone that he can beat, like Matias Nicolau Pereira. But then the other side, some people are saying coming off a loss, and you got a guy who's on a 2-fight win streak here, winning like 7 out of 8, 9 out of 10. Hard to say. I don't know. Adam, what would your thought be on there? I think it could go either way, but I think Kape, iron sharpens iron, and even though Kape did lose fairly convincingly to Pantoja, I think just, that's going to up his game more, and I think he's going to be really ready to beat someone here like Matias Nicolau Pereira.
Oh, man, just looking at the previous fights and experience, I don't think Kape really has a chance in this one.
You don't think Kape has a chance?
No.
He's probably 2-1 favorite in the odds. Or
I know. I just really.
Well, let's take a look.
Look at the caliber of fighters here. I mean, they're great. I don't want to sit here and turn it down. Yeah. I don't necessarily see Kai Asikara.
I mean, these guys are not UFC quality. I agree.
Exactly.
Rizin or Ryzen is a tough organization.
Tough for sure.
Well, let's look at the odds really quick, because the odds makers might see something you see. Let's find Kape, Manel Kape.
There it is.
You know what? They are kind of making this a close call. Based on maybe them thinking, I don't know.
Probably exactly what I'm thinking.
I guess but how can you let losing to a really, really top guy in your pro debut make people think you're that bad? I mean, the bottom line of Pantoja is, how do you give someone? I mean,
we hit that on the last episode, but I think here's what it is. Look at this, Colin.
He's got good guys there. You're right. He's been in the UFC for a long time. He beat John Moraga. He beat Smolka. He did lose to our friend who was on our show a while back, Dustin Ortiz, but Ortiz was on a killing streak. Go above there, instead of going backward.
And he stepped out for a second.
He stepped out
after his loss to Dustin Ortiz, which is no shame in that loss.
No, there is not. But then again, you could say a loss to Dustin Ortiz may be similar to a loss that Kape just had to Pantoja. And in fact, some people give Pantoja even more shine than Dustin Ortiz, being that Pantoja is still a top 5 UFC fighter, whereas Dustin was released by the UFC for whatever reason, like 2 years ago, I think unjustly. But, also having one guy fought a few months ago and another guy fought 4 weeks ago does favor the guy who fought a few months ago. I know at some point, if the few months turns out to a few years, then that changes. It's a kind of a law of diminishing returns. But to me, that may be it. They may feel that that Kape is still bruised and sore, and will be due to the punishment that Pantoja put on him, and that fighting this soon off of a loss where he did kind of get dominated and it was a lot of punishment maybe isn't that smart. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I think I believe in Kape though, and I think that that he's going to come through. But this is one of those fights that I think bettors, gamblers would call an X factor because of that. You got this.
I wouldn't bet on this one. This is not going to be one of my dog picks at all.
No, because you just don't know because of the extenuating factors.
Yeah, 100%. So everybody tuning in right now, I want to go ahead and thank you so much. Go ahead and interact here on any of the platforms. Honestly, we'll see a majority of the interactions. I want to thank you so much for tuning in every single week here, and make sure to follow us over on all of our social media. As you see it going across the top of the screen, it's just at MMAPowerHour.com. It's pretty easy to remember when you remember the name of the show.
That's us, MMA Power Hour.
MMA Power Hour.
Yep.
Feel the power.
Absolutely. Let me try Chase one last quick time here on the phone, and let's see if we can chase the chase a little bit.
See if we can do it.
See if we can make it happen.
Let me see if I can put a little
entertaining music.
Yeah, a little tonality.
For a few seconds. This may be quick, though, so maybe you can watch now. Which could mean the reception really will work here.
And are we gonna get the call?
No, it looks like not. So he's probably somewhere really, really bad. Yeah. Okay.
No, that is our answer. It is no.
And then we have someone. So let me just tell him we'll try for the second spot. Hey Chase, we're assuming that the reception is bad where you are, so let's aim for 7:25 Vegas time if you can. Period.
All right, and matches, Colin, coming up here. We've got after the or before the Cop and Pereira fight is actually the Danny Gay and Gavin Tucker fight, but before that is going to be Eric Anders going up against Darren Stewart.
Your boy, right? His nickname is your boy.
Yeah, your boy. We
had him on the show. He's a good dude.
Yep, and I'm gonna go with Stewart on this one.
Yeah, the dentist seems to be the favorite, and the odds makers I think have it that way as well. I'll cheer for Anders because we know him. But yeah, I do think that it seems like at this point, Darren Stewart is the better fighter, and the odds makers I think are seeing that as well, making him about a 2-1 favorite. But it should be interesting and fun. Eric goes for it, man. Your boy is a good athlete, and he sometimes shows up looking even more polished. And if he does, it could be really close. But yeah, I think that Stewart is a little bit of a bigger and a little bit of a better fighter. What else do we have? Is this that same?
This is the preliminary card now.
There we go. Our girl, the Spider Monkey, also known as the Spider Monkey Yoda, Ashley Yoder, who is on a really good streak of a couple wins. So many of her losses have been by split decision or a decision that went the wrong way that she could have won. This is interesting how, though, she's looking the best she's looked in a couple of years, and they're making her 3-1 dog against Angela Hill. So I don't get that. I guess I do get that in a way that they really feel that Angela Hill is just going to pick her apart on the feet. Angela Hill is so short, and Ashley has the length on her. Ashley's a better grappler for sure. What is the age of both of these? I think Ashley's even younger. Angela's 36 and Ashley's got to be 33. So in all honesty, no, I think this is a good dog bet. Could Angela Hill win by keeping it on the feet and piecing her up? Possibly, yeah. But I'm going to go for Ashley Yoder here, and I think this is an overlay in what the odds should be. I think that you probably also hear this corroborated by many of the better sports handicappers. Ashley Yoder, this should be a dog or pass, as they call it. And at 3-1, the money is on the dog, and Ashley does have a fair chance of winning.
She does have a fair chance, but oh man.
You're feeling more that Angela can piece her up on the feet?
I think she's going to piece her up on the feet. I think she's going to get it done that way. Yeah. I don't want to bet against Yoder, and I'm not going to.
Right. So
in this case, this one, it's a no play for me.
And I'm going to go for Yoder. I'm going for Yoder on that one. Charles Jourdain, Air Jourdain. Isn't that funny? The guy's like a French Canadian. His last name is Jourdain, but he thinks of like Michael, like Air Jordan, so he becomes Charles Air Jourdain. Anyway, he's a tough dude. I know our correspondent and good friend Francesca Dominique really likes him, and there's nothing not to like. What is he coming off? 5-0. He had a draw against Kulabau, and then before that, he did lose to Andre Touchy-Feely. You know, there's still a lot of shine on him. I just get a good feeling about him. He's a talented dude. And who the heck is Marcelo Rojo? The Pitbull? Where does he fight out of? Can you go back up real quick? Fighting out of Argentina, Entram Gin. So this is a pro debuter. They're putting Charles Jourdain.
He's a UFC debuter.
UFC debuter. My mistake. Thank you. Fighting a lot in Combate Americas, although I don't know that it's been proven yay or nay whether those fighters end up doing good in the UFC. I think right now it's kind of 50-50. Yeah, and it's an X Factor fight when a guy's making his debut, but I honestly think this is the A side here is Charles Jourdain, and I think the odds makers, have him about 3-1 favorite, and I think that's right. It's so hard to do.
I'm going to stick to my guns on this one. When I was talking about the risen quality fighters, I think Combate Americas is even a step below risen.
I would agree.
I think the odds makers have this one right. I'm going to go with Jourdain as well. How do you think Jourdain's going to take this one?
Probably knockout. Knockout. Yeah,
I think so.
I think so.
Who does he train with? What gym is it?
Pro Star Canada and Quebec. That's not TriStar if you're thinking.
No,
I don't know who that is, but a lot of times Sherdog has the wrong information. So he could be over at American Top Team or Elevation for all we know. But he wins via different methods, via submissions,
mostly knockout though.
KOs.
So.
Yeah. He's a really good athlete.
Okay, that makes sense.
25-year-old guy. These youngsters are coming up. Then what do we have? Our friend.
Let's make sure we got the order right here.
Yeah.
And then we have
our friend.
Yep.
Ronnie Yaya. Man, Ronnie Yaya, I think, has been in the UFC for 10 years and has been fighting on television, if you consider the WEC, for 15 years. I think he's about 37 years old, which is old for his weight. He might even be 38 years old, and the guy can still win. The guy's jiu-jitsu is so good. He's such a strong, tough guy, 36 years old, for a bantamweight. Man, Yaya, look at that. He just, only the best beat him. And Ricky Simone struggled with him, and Ricky Simone went in there and owned Brian Kelleher. So who is this Ray Rodriguez, fighting out of San Antonio, Texas, Ohana Academy? Lost his pro debut against Kelleher
in the first round. Too,
so. I don't see anything this guy's going to do to Yaya. Although at 135 at 36 years old, you can probably lose a step any day now, but I think Yaya is just so good, and if he's not lost, how long has it been since Ronnie fought? Isn't it about a year, maybe?
Right about.
Almost exactly a year. Majority draw against a tough Enrique Barzola. Yeah, I think Ronnie Yaya all day here. I think either by decision or submission, and I think they have him about 3-1 favorite, don't they? Can you look on the best fight odds? Yaya is back up more. Ronnie Yaya.
Yeah,
mine about 3.5 to 1 favorite, and I think that's correct. I hear all these younger, I'm kind of a little bit of an older sports broadcaster here. I hear some of these guys that are millennials and even young millennials that saying, "Oh, I'll never bet with a guy over 35," or "I don't like to trust a guy over 35," or this or that or whatever. I don't subscribe to that. The ones that say over 40, I don't even subscribe to that. It depends who the fighter is. And a bunch of guys, depending on the weight class, are still very live at 35 especially, and sometimes 40. So, would it be better if Ronnie was 34 or if this was 2016 and we're talking about a Ronnie Yaya fight? Yeah, it would be. But I still think this is his fight, But once in a while, it should be. Once in a while, Father Time catches us, but I don't think this time. So what else do we have? Hack Parast and Rafa Garcia. So Nasrat Hack Parast is a beast. I think he spent a little bit of time at TriStar, but I think he's back at Kings now, or maybe he's alternating, but he's a beast from Afghanistan. and he did look very impressive against Munoz. Drew Dober, our friend, caught him a little bit over a year ago, but he is a very, very tough guy. Other than Drew Dober catching him, he was on a good streak of 5 wins, and he looked very good against Alex Munoz. Let's see who this guy is.
Rafa Garcia.
Gifted Rafa Garcia. And no, since it's from Mexico, he would then be Rafa Garcia. So from Mexico, undefeated. I bet you he's coming up from Combates. I bet you anything. Let's take a look.
He is?
Yeah, yes, he is, of course. You know, just, he's a sub guy. And so this is almost going to be like an old school, you know, boxer, striker against grappler, although Hapkarast can go anywhere, although he likes striking. I just think that Hapkarast has a chance of just completely starching this guy. It's so hard to know about someone when they're just coming up from...
This one's too tough to gauge. I would not bet on this. Man, this card actually is
a lot of tough fights. Yeah. I don't know. I would bet on it.
A lot of X factors, really.
Yeah, I think Hapkarast has to beat a guy like this. And I should qualify a guy like this who's 12-0. This guy could be a future champ. I just think that for a pro debut to put him up against a top 20 guy like Nasrat Haqparast in a top 10 school like King's MMA, who's been killing it. I just think that the Afghanistani here is going to be too much. So I think it's an okay bet. You're just not going to make much money on it. Courtney Casey, JJ Aldrich is an interesting fight. The women here, man, I've got a few things to say about that matchup as soon as the doctor can get that queued up. So neither women have been killing it in their UFC career. We have a 9-8 woman going up against an 8-4 woman. You want to start with Courtney Cast Iron Casey. Courtney's a tall woman. I think for a long time she was at 115. It was a hard cut at 125. It's a better fit for her size. They list her as 5'6". She might even be 5'7". He's only had either 1 or 2 fights at flyweight. I think it may even be just 1. And you know what? This fight may not even be at flyweight. I'm actually thinking this fight may be at strawweight. Can you take a look at Aldrich really quick? Aldrich has fought at both, but let's see what they show Aldrich's weight as. But let's see who she fought last. Who did Aldrich fight last? Sabina Mazo, and that was strawweight. So
it's at flyweight.
It is a flyweight. Okay, so we have 2 former strawweights at flyweight. So let's look at this. JJ Aldrich did lose to Sabina Mazo. She beat Lauren Mueller. She got stopped by Macy Barber. Beat Polyana Viana, Daniel Taylor, Chami Gian, Juliana Lima. She lost to. She's been in the UFC for 5 years, and she's 4-3 in the UFC, 8-4 overall. How old is JJ? Real quick. Back, you can go back. JJ she's going to be the younger girl here, 28. Yeah. And then you go against Courtney Casey, the 33-year-old fighting out of MMA Lab. She lost to Jillian. There's no shame there. She beat Mara Romero Barella. She lost to Calvillo. She beat Angela Hill. And she split decision lost to Waterson and another. So, wow, she had 3 splits in a row where she lost 2 out of the 3 to Felicia Herrig, Michelle Waterson, and Angela Hill. I think at flyweight it's a better fit, even though Jillian was too much for her. I believe that was her flyweight debut, and I think this is going to be all of a sudden a bunch of dust just got in my sinuses. I think this is going to be a tough fight. I think both of their backs are against the wall a little bit, so they're going to fight hard, but I would go for Courtney Casey, and she's the dog, and they have Aldrich the favorite. Yeah, I'm on Courtney Casey as the dog here. Yeah, give me plus money on Courtney Casey. Yeah, I think that she's just going to be too big and strong for Aldrich. Her being a little bit older doesn't help, but MMA Lab is badass. She's got her longtime boyfriend there, Drakkar Klose, and so many great people over there, and I think it's just going to be her fight. You with me on that?
Yeah, I sure am.
Next fight is interesting. Jin Yu Frey. Jin Yu Frey is a girl who owned the Invicta Atomweight Championship for, I think, 2 or 3 years. She's just a real body girl, as they say, shredded six-pack, just completely cut up, jacked, strong woman, mostly a striker, but seemed to be able to hold off the wrestlers and the sub-girls in Invicta. They bring her over, and there's no atom weight in UFC, so they bring her over at strawweight, one division higher, and she gets armbarred by Kay Hansen, and there's no shame in that because Kay is a really good wrestler. And then she does get outworked by Konkak Super Syra, who has a different name as well. Anyway, Gloria DePaula will be making her pro debut. She did beat, she was the one that beat our friend Paulina Pita Macias in Dana White's Contender Series about 9 months ago. How old is Jin? Is like 35, yeah. So Jin is old for this weight division. Paulina is young. Wow, 10-year difference.
10-year difference. I think this one's a pretty clear one. I'm going to go with Gloria DePaula.
Yeah, what do the odds say? The odds are saying, yeah, DePaula 2-1, even slightly over. It's probably right. I just like, you know what? If there would have been an atomweight division here, Jin Yu Frey, I'm telling you, would be competitive. If it was 5 years ago and they moved her to strawweight, Jin Yu Frey would have been, or Fry, as I
don't disagree, but I think
just right now, I'm going to be cheering for her though, because she was so good. Just her timing about when to get to the UFC with all the eyes on her just seems to not be ideal as far as when in her life, and then this higher weight division. But yeah, it's going to be a hard ask. So there's our buddy, the other Vanilla Gorilla. We have Jason Witt, Vanilla Gorilla, who was on our show a couple weeks ago, or even last week. And then Chase Sherman is also Vanilla Gorilla. This is an interesting fight. Jason Witt, what do the odds say first? You want to go to the best fight odds? Semmelsberger, slight favorite, about 1.5 to 1, if that, and even on some sports books, but mostly Semmelsberger a little bit of a favorite. So Jason Witt is a really good dude. I like him a lot. This is going to be a hard fight. If you want to go to the guys again so we can see a little bit more about them, I think they're both not even 30. The Jedi, Semmelsberger, is 28 years old, 7-2-0. Jason Witt, 34. No, he is a little bit older. So Witt is 34. Was Witt a guy who was in the UFC years ago and then left? I don't think so. Or was he? No, he wasn't. He never was. So Witt's a guy who really paid his dues and earned his way into the UFC. His first fight, he did lose to Takahashi Sato last year, but he came back and submitted Cole Williams. Excuse me. This is his chance to be more than 500 in the UFC. He needs to, 34 years old. Semmelsberger, the Jedi, is 28 years old, much younger. He coming off his win. Carlton Minus, unfortunately, is not UFC level.
No, he's not. And only winning, I mean, it was a decision.
Yeah, so that's not that super impressive. I think Jason can do this. It's going to be a really good fight. Both guys are really, really tough. Jason, where does Jason fight out of? Isn't he over at Factory X or something?
Yeah.
He is, even though it doesn't say that, I think, on Sherdog yet. Yeah, Glory
MMA.
Glory with right. James Krause.
Yep.
I think they're going to come up with a formula, with a game plan. I think James Krause and the guys over there, Julian Marquez and James and all the other great guys over there, Sean Woodson, and some of the other guys there. I think they're going to come up with a plan. This is going to be a good fight. But at 34 years old, the time is now when you're fighting at what, featherweight? Is this a featherweight fight or lightweight? No, welterweight. Okay. Still, the time is now. It is not as desperate as if he were a featherweight or lightweight, but 34 years old at anything less than heavyweight and light heavyweight, the time is now. And so Witt is going to take this. I think he's going to big brother Matthew Semmelsberger, and he'll be eating the Semmelsberger for his lunch, and then he can go out afterward and have a real cheeseburger, which would tastes a lot better than devouring a Semmelsberger, which doesn't make any sense. But I think as far as in the fight, he will devour and beat the Semmelsberger, and there will be only a Witt speaking at the end, not a Semmelsberger. That's some that's some dad humor, which really failed. But I try, and I admit when I blew it. That deal was stupid. But anyway, big respect for Semmelsberger, bigger respect even for Jason Witt. Allergies.
I'm going to tell you this right now.
Yeah.
The only dog I'm going with on this entire card is going to be Bilal. That's the only dog pick I would take this week. There's not.
So you're not taking.
Well, actually, I would as well.
Oh, that's barely a dog.
Yeah, it's barely a dog.
Yeah.
So I'm.
So the
he
only
was a
true
favorite
dog,
last week or the other week
it's
when
been
we were
moving
looking
around.
at it.
Yeah,
So.
makes sense. Okay, and what? Davy Grant, Jonathan Martinez?
I don't think they're on this card anymore.
No,
I don't think so. No.
Nope. I think you're right.
They're definitely on the main card.
Ige. Yeah, it is. Yeah, right there. They are on the main card. Jonathan Martinez.
Oh, yeah, let's
Davy
go over
Grant.
that one.
Let's
We skipped over that one.
So Davy Grant came in second in the Ultimate Fighter, I think about 7 or 8 years ago, even more than that. He did lose to the guy who has since become a coach at Team Alpha Male. I always forget his name, and he's such a tough guy. But Chris, it's Chris something. Holdsworth, yeah. Anyway, so after losing to Holdsworth, damn, look at that. He took 3 years off. Davy Grant took 3 or 2.5 years off, came back and beat Marlon Chito Vera. Then he got subbed by Damian Stasiak. He did get subbed by Manny Bermudez, but Bermudez was on a tear 3 years ago. He did then come back and beat Grigory Popov, and then he stopped Martin Day in his last fight. How old is he now? He's got to be in his mid-30s, 35, yeah, and he's fighting at what, bantamweight?
Let's see.
Featherweight, it looks like.
For this one?
Is it?
Yeah, it's going to be
bantamweight, yeah. So Grant is getting a little bit old for this weight class, but he looked good in his last fight. This is another matchup with a big age difference. So coming off of 2 good wins, Frankie Saenz and Tomas Alameda, having lost to Andre Ewell, and then before that beat Ping Yun Lee and beat Wuji Buren. The man is 4-2. A lot of UFC experience for Mr. Jonathan Martinez. Tough guy, much younger. Factory X is a great school. I think Davy Grant is British from England, I think. Isn't here, does it show that he's training somewhere? Let's go to his opponent, Davy Grant. Let's see if Grant's training anywhere here. No, it just says Northeast Top Team from SBC Manchester. That's Conor McGregor's gym, but Conor's not usually there. He is pretty much over at SBC Ireland. And let me see. Anyway, what's happening, Jay? And
yeah, MMA, as in the UFC, Bellator.
That's it. This is what we're talking about.
Come feel the power with real fighting.
Absolutely, join us. We're happy to have you. So more than likely, this is Jonathan Martinez's fight. Although Davy did look tough in his last fight, he really did. But who did he beat again? Davy beat.
Davy.
Yeah.
Here's my situation.
He beat Martin Day, though. Martin Day, unfortunately, is not really UFC level. This is probably Jonathan Martinez's fight. You want to see?
That's exactly what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I think it is. We're talking about levels now. The big thing to consider here is the weight class, right?
Because it looks like Martinez is coming down in weight. Does it? Is that what you're thinking? Because he's listed as a featherweight. Who did he fight last, though? I think he's been fighting bantamweight. No, those are bantamweights. Let's look at Alameda. No, they have Alameda. You're right. They have Almeida as a feather. That may have been one of those last minute fights where they did push the weight up because it was such short notice. It's hard to say, but they're both bantamweights. But yeah, Jonathan Martinez has looked really, really good. He's out of a great school, Factory X. He's only 26 years old. I think the Brit is going to be really up against it. I think Martinez should be 2-1 favorite. Can you check and see what the odds makers are saying? And the odds makers are saying up there, yeah, wait, go up. And Martinez, yeah, oh, wow, they've got him 3.5-1 favorite. I think that's right. I think the Brit is going to be really hard-pressed to do anything against the Factory X guy, Jonathan Martinez.
I'm going to reiterate this. There's only one dog I'm going to go for on this one, and that's Bilal. I'm thinking more about it. I am gonna put my money down because it's my only pick for a dog, so I'll put it down on Bilal for this one.
All right.
And how? I don't know. Probably a decision.
Yeah, makes sense. Leon Edwards, though, is so badass. He's so talented. But it's going to be interesting. Let's go back and see for Leon Edwards, the main eventer, when his last fight was and what his last few fights were. So Leon's last fight was in 2019, July 19th. So it hasn't been like 2.5 years. It's just about a year and a half, a little bit more. And he was on a good streak. You know what, though? He was only fighting twice a year for the last several years. But wow, look at some of these wins. Beating our friend Vicente Luque, although Luque is still really young and has improved since then. Beating Brian Barberena. Peter Sabata's a good fight. Beating Cowboy Cerrone 3 years ago. Beating Gunnar Nelson. I remember that. He got a split decision there, and Gunnar is a beast. And then beating RDA, Rafael dos Anjos. And, you know, he lost. In fact, the only loss on his record is Kamaru Usman. And Usman has many times mentioned the respect that he has for the talent of Leon Edwards. And one of our friends here, Jay, says Daniel Cormier, he looks very interesting. Cormier is an interesting guy, definitely, for sure. And Cormier, I think, also definitely does believe in Leon Edwards, if you're saying that, but I know he also likes Bilal. Anyway, man, at 29, the dude's only 29 years old. How old is Bilal? Bilal's like a little older, isn't he? 31, 32? Let's see. 32, yeah, out of Rufus Sport. Yeah, on paper, if Leon Edwards returns to the form he was in a year and a half ago, on paper it looks like Leon Edwards would win. But like I said, Bilal is really coming into his own, and I know you agree. And I'm cheering for him. I would not bet a penny on that, but I think Bilal's got a shot. But he's going to have to. All of his eyes are going to have to be dotted.
I'm actually betting on Bilal on this one.
Are you?
Yep.
I'll put maybe.
I think it's going to be a decision. I think he's got the fight IQ. I think he's really been coming on up. I think this weight class also has been evolving a lot with talking Izzy here, and I just think it's been evolving so much over the last year and a half since Leon last fought. I think that it's
people
just
are upping their skill set. Yeah,
they're upping their skill sets, and Bilal's one of them.
Yeah. You probably mean Usman. Izzy has nothing to do with this.
Usman, yeah, that's what I meant. Usman.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I think so. And I like Bilal, the answer, Muhammad, and he is a really, really nice guy, known to be a fun-loving, funny guy, respectful. Nobody dislikes Bilal Muhammad, and probably Leon Edwards won't either. Adam, what do you think? I'm curious, since we're just wrapping here. You fought in some smokers and you wrestled in Iowa. What's your perspective on that weird scenario that has caused Jorge Masvidal and Leon Edwards to really hate each other? It was over in England, I believe. And Jorge had just won his fight, I think maybe beating Darren Till, I think maybe it was, right? So he's being interviewed by Megan O'Leary. And Leon Edwards walks by, kind of just out of camera sight, says something like, yeah, fight someone, for real, or something like that, right? And he distracted Jorge from his interview, which isn't that respectful, but they're fighters. And Jorge said, what's that? And then he said, why don't you tell me that, directly, face to face or whatever. So Jorge walks off the interview in the middle of Megan O'Leary talking to him. And Leon and his brother in his corner come back around, and they start walking toward each other. And at first, Jorge has his hands behind his back, and he says that if you're a gangster from the streets, or if you're an old school real fighter, as long as your hands are behind your back, everyone understands not to throw punches, right? Oh yeah, we better run. But anyway, when he saw Leon put his hands up, then he hit him. Because he said Leon's hands were up. Leon says, I just was wanting to protect myself in case anyone tried any crazy shit. But he said that was entirely unwarranted and entirely, wrong for Jorge to start punching him.
Right.
What do you think in that case?
Well, I mean, you don't throw any punches outside of the cage.
Right. That should be
that's all there is to it.
Jorge just said that if Leon would have had his hands behind his back or down, he wouldn't have punched him. But being that Leon started walking toward him with his hands up, that indicated to Jorge that they were going to start throwing. And Jorge said, in that case, I'll be first. But interesting. It's, no one cares that much, I guess, except for the fact that Jorge doesn't think he did anything wrong. And Leon feels he cut him up by surprise attacking him for no reason, but those two people want to see that fight because that happened about 2 years ago. Anyway, let's grab our next guest here, and whenever you're ready,
go into that Skype dance.
Yep,
now
we can pull her file up.
Yep. It's no Skype dance because she's not online, hasn't accepted anything.
Okay, so let's let our buddy know here, and so we can leave his name out when I dictate, and now I can dictate. We just tried Randa, and she's not answering. It looks like she's not on Skype, and it looks like she never accepted our friend request on Skype either, period. New paragraph, any way you could help us, brother? Question mark. All right, so where is it? Okay, let's see if
for those of you tuning in for the first time, make sure to go on over to our social media, give us likes, comments, shares. It definitely helps the show out. It's just at MMA Power Hour. For those of you watching on the Hannibal TV, make sure to go on over to Fight TV on every one of the smart televisions out there. You'll be able to find Fight TV for free. It's FITE TV. You can also go to their website. It's fite.tv. You can go ahead and watch for free. It does not cost a single thing to get signed up. You do need to get signed up to watch, but it is free. And as far as everybody over there on Fight TV, make sure to go on over to the Hannibal TV, an amazing YouTube channel, primarily professional wrestling. But I can tell you there's a lot of MMA content starting to be put out over there as well, including us. So make sure to go on over to YouTube and search The Hannibal TV and go ahead and subscribe to that channel. And this way you know what's going on with us every single step of the way. We love you guys. We can't do this without you. You guys are the whole reason that we do this show.
Exactly. And speaking about you guys, since we're waiting to get Randa on, let's respond to our friend here, our new friend and viewer, Jay Twin Tower out of Birmingham in the UK. Appreciate you reading up in the MMA. He is more of a boxing fan. Absolutely, definitely some interesting stuff going on in the UK as well as MMA, Conor McGregor, and some other things going on in MMA. But since you're a boxing fan, Jay, let me ask you, what do you think? The two best heavyweights, in many people's opinion today in boxing, are the Gypsy, Tyson Fury, and Anthony Joshua. Who wins that fight, Jay? How does that fight play out in your opinion? Which way are you leaning if that fight happens? And then do you think it's going to happen soon, or do you think it's going to be one that never happens or takes years to make? I know in boxing it's interesting because I was a boxing fan even before I was an MMA fan. And I watch a lot more MMA lately over the years, but I still keep my thumb on the pulse, or my finger on the pulse, if you will, on boxing. And being that there's dozens of millions of dollars on the biggest for the biggest stars, a lot of them don't want to risk their titles, and it just seems like because of the different promoters, that there can be guys who are the best avoiding each other year after year after year. That's one of the good things about the UFC, is Dana really doesn't let that happen. I guess there's less money in it than boxing. And I think also just, UFC history is you try to be the best by beating the best. And then if you are the best and the champion, you prove that by defending against the best. It's almost kind of like boxing was to an extent many years ago. But yeah, in MMA, if you're the champ and you, for whatever reason, you're coming up with excuses not to sign a contract against the number one contender, you learn pretty quickly that your title can be stripped like that. And let's say, and Jay from Birmingham, England, comes back and has picked Anthony Joshua in the 5th round to beat Tyson Fury, and I think he feels it's going to be about another year and a half till we see that fight. And
Yep. That's what he was saying. Another year and a half from now.
Absolutely. Yeah, you really could be right, Ben. I hope it comes soon. I think both of those guys are right around 30, 31, 32, 33 at heavyweight, so that would still be fine, I guess. Yeah, that would still be fine. A lot of guys are still looking good at 35, 36, 37, even at heavyweight, even though for some reason I think Tyson Fury might already be close to that, but that will be an amazing fight. And then in the UFC, great British fighters, we have Michael Bisping in the Hall of Fame, and some other Brits that are really good. Who's out there? I wonder who's out there right now. There's so many of them, but I don't know if any of them come to mind. British fighters, I know with the women there are very, very few. And then at heavyweight, anyone British in the UFC heavyweight division of note? Not really. In the light heavyweight division, not really. In the middleweight, well, Leon Edwards. I'm not sure, Jay, since you're more of a boxing guy, but Leon Edwards is considered one of the most exciting British contenders and possibly an heir apparent to the title out there. And he is actually fighting this Saturday, and I think you don't even have to pay for it. Well, in the U.S., you'd have to pay for some fights, although I think you guys have a thing with Sky Sports or something where you do have to pay at least a little bit of money, I think, for the UFC. But if you want to support one of your UK guys, this Leon Edwards is a really, really tough guy. I think he's got like a 16-1 record or something like that, and his only loss is to the world champion, who's a dominant champion in Kamaru Usman, the American, originally born in Nigeria. So yeah, very tough Brit is Leon Edwards. Not only that, on the same card, we have the man they call the dentist, Darren Stewart, not ranked as high as Leon Edwards, but still very, very tough. And now Jay feels Mike Tyson is the best boxer I've ever seen in my gym. Wow, he did. So Jay did get a chance to see Mike Tyson do some boxing.
He said in his generation.
Oh, in his generation. I thought he said gym. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, Mike Tyson was amazing. He really, really was. As much height as he always gave away at about 5'10", barely. I think now that he's older, he's more like 5'9". But yeah, at his tallest, I think he was 5'10", although they listed him as 5'11 and a half. Amazing for a heavyweight, one of the shortest in years, but so fast. But it really seemed like just so much of his prime, and I was there for most of it, not being that much younger than Mike Tyson, actually. When he was with his original trainer, Cus D'Amato, the Italian-American legendary trainer, he was incredible. And then Cus dies when Mike is like 21. And then Mike brings in Teddy Atlas and has some personal differences with Teddy and gets him thrown out of the camp. And then he's got Kevin Rooney in there. And then Don King objects to Kevin Rooney. And then all of a sudden it's Don King and a couple of childhood friends that are training and managing Mike, and that just didn't really give Mike the push he needed. But what a cool dude, and now in his 50s to come back and fight. Who would have ever thought we'd see a senior tour or an older fighter Legends tour rather in boxing? That's a really rough sport to ask guys in their 50s to come out and start throwing shots to each other's body and head. That takes some serious balls, and so for Mike and Roy Jones to come out there and do just that was awesome. It sounds like they're talking about it starting some kind of a trend, which I guess is okay. And what I think is this: a guy in his 50s can smash younger guys when he's throwing the punches, but the more punches you take to your body in your 50s and your head, it's just not as good as if you're taking them in your 30s and 20s. Although if you're strong enough and you don't have any really bad structural damage to your body, then hey, it could be okay. And I don't know if it's going to start a thing where everyone in the world is going to want to start fighting in their 50s or fighting again after 5 or 10 years off, but God bless them, a lot of courage to do that. Yep, Don King, yep, Mike. Anyway, so are we looking? Dr. Adam Roorda is looking to see if we are able to pull her. No, we can't. Okay, so back again. So Dr. Adam Roorda. So yeah, that's why there's a beef between Leon Edwards and Masvidal. I don't know if you guys are feeling this. Dr. Adam Roorda, you may be feeling this. It seems like the welterweight division is starting to a little bit become a little bit like boxing. Like Masvidal wants to fight the best. He gave it a good shot against Usman on like 2 weeks notice and lost. And he has mentioned that he feels was a mitigating factor in him losing, that it was such short notice. And it could be. You got to practice for a guy like Usman. But Masvidal is now pretty much saying, I'm going to fight. I'll fight this or that guy, and I better be paid or else I'm not fighting. And it's not just him, but you got him, you got Colby Covington, you've got Leon Edwards. A bunch of these guys are starting to pretty much say, hey, I'm not just going to fight whoever Dana and the UFC wants me to fight with whatever half a camp and whatever small money. They're pretty much all saying, I'll just pass on that. So we're getting a bunch of guys looking at each other and saying, no, not for that. You know, and it's kind of getting frustrating because we want to see this figured out. We want to see, we're seeing Leon against Bilal, and Bilal is one of those guys that will step up and fight anybody. But after that, I think if Leon does win, we believe Bilal will win. But if Bilal wins, I think he'll do whatever. Bilal is ready to fight and be champion. But I think if it comes down to Leon and Covington and Masvidal and even Usman, I think there's a lot of interest between those four guys of making as much money as they can to face each other, and they're not going to do it on short notice, and they're not going to do it for less than money they feel they deserve. And so it's almost like there's going to be a little bit of a log jam with all four of them not being that sure they want to sign the contract with each other.
Right.
And that kind of sucks for the fans because we want to just see it. We want to see, they should make it a playoff. It should be Masvidal and Covington.
A lot of these guys are just so worried about that payday, and I don't know.
Yeah. That
actually brings up an interesting topic here because me as a fan, I want to see a fighter that loves to fight. I love my Cowboys, Cerrone's. It's not necessarily about that payday at the end of the day.
Right.
I mean, it clearly was a little bit for him, but man,
he'll fight when they ask him. When they got to fight.
Yeah, the guys that'll take a fight. Kevin Holland, he's a prime example. A guy that'll take any fight, short notice. He's gonna show up and he's ready to go. He's prepared. Doesn't matter who it is. Now I know once you start talking title contention, stuff like that, it can kind of get a little different. But I don't think it should be any different.
No.
I think if somebody puts up a challenge and is a worthy opponent, take it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Paul Felder was mentioning when he went live, and I think you guys can see that wherever it was on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. He went live with Michael Chiesa, and they were talking about Islam Makhachev, who's in Paul Felder's division. And he wasn't saying he's scared of him or anything, but he was saying there are those guys that are coming up that don't have quite a big name yet, so it's not going to necessarily have a huge amount of meaning for you to beat them, but they are super dangerous. And he said, you get a guy like that, and he said Makhachev is that guy where you present his name to another UFC welter or lightweight contender, and Felder said, I would just feel like saying, I don't know if I want to do that, and so
I don't agree with that. Being
they should,
I think they
he's
should
being
take
honest
it.
though. Yeah, right. He's being honest though. And I think what it is like, I think a lot of times a fighter is saying, if I'm going to take someone who very likely could beat me, possibly,
well, I think this is one of the things.
It better be someone high profile that makes me money.
But at the same time, Colin, here's one of the things that holds back the sport and keeps. If everybody really got together, you got to look at it this way. When you go to watch one of the other sports, any sport, you name it, do they have a real choice in who they're facing?
No. In any other sport, team sports, the winners face the winner, especially in the playoffs. During the regular season,
combat sports is the only genre of sports at all. But when you start looking at even golf, tennis, you don't get to choose your opponents. You just don't. So at the end of the day, I think it would really help the sport out if absolutely everybody were just kind of forced to go through the
just say here's who you're up against, and here's that
is one of the reasons why PFL's kind of attractive,
right? Because
like
it's a tournament style, right? You know who you're fighting next, and you have to, and the money's already agreed on, but like I'm saying, UFC is better than boxing, Adam. In boxing, these guys will avoid each other sometimes year after year after year.
Some of them over in boxing, it's kind of known for it,
right? For years, they'll for literally years avoid
only taking the tomato cans,
right? And so in this situation, I think there is there is consequences. If someone keeps on probably telling Sean Shelby and Mick and Dana, I don't want that fight, you give me another guy here, I don't want to fight him for this money, or I'm not really down for that, I'm not feeling it, I think they will not only possibly have them lowered in their official rankings, but I think at some point, they might say, you're trying to hold up things here, and you think by doing that, then the next thing we're going to do is say, okay, we're going to give you a full camp and let you choose between Colby Covington and Masvidal and whatever, and they won't. I think they're going to say, you keep on saying no, 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 pretty soon we're going to let you take a year off while people who want to fight. And then you can come back to us, when you're actually wanting to fight someone. So, I think UFC is better than boxing in that way, but it's frustrating. And I understand, you don't want to lose your status, but not everyone can fight someone ranked above them all the time. It just, someone is ranking someone, fighting someone behind them at some point. You just have to. And Dan Hardy released a statement on UFC departure. How about that, Adam? We're told here by Jay, Twin Tower. That's unfortunate. That's really weird. I don't know why they would do that. I mean, Hardy was their go-to guy. You know what's interesting, though, man? Jay, Hardy was their go-to guy when they were doing fights in England and in Europe, but there isn't any of that now. Although, you know what? I think Hardy was over there doing some broadcasts in Abu Dhabi as well. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But Dan Hardy was definitely someone that people really like and respect. I don't know what he did that would have got him released. I don't know. One thing that I remember, Adam, that you might not know, I know that everyone has a love and hate relationship with SureDog. They're one of the biggest websites out there. They seem to not be able to update where their fighters train, and sometimes their fighters wait, because they've got such a huge database. But I remember that it was like a dozen years ago that SureDog would get a credential for every UFC everywhere. And then, they got into a big one. And then
Colin, I'm pointing over here because we have our guest ready to go actually now.
Sounds
so
good. I appreciate
we can give her a call. Thanks for hanging in there, guys.
Yep.
Sometimes things happen, so we'll go ahead and give her the ring now.
And pull her up when you have a chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sounds good. Anyway, I was trying to say SureDog on the outs, I think, for a while with the UFC. Hey, Randa, can you hear me?
Hey, sorry about that. I just got back from practice.
No problem at all. Understood. Whenever you have a chance, hit that video button and then you'll be able to see yourself. We'll be doing split screen, a lot of great graphics here, but you won't be able to see us, just see yourself. Definitely got the training. You still got that great red hair. We're so happy to have you on there. Let's give you a proper introduction since we are live, Randa. And ladies and gentlemen, happy to have this guest on the show for the first time. She joins a group of UFC top contenders and champions, a ton of women's UFC fighters that we've had on the show, and we're so happy to have on the woman they call the Quiet Storm, Randa Markos. Welcome to the show, Randa.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And it is Randa, right? That's the since it's RA?
Yes, Randa.
Very cool. So I love that hair, by the way. You've had that for what, about 4 or 5 years now?
Yeah, about 5 years now. It helps me stand out. I like it. Obviously I need to get it redone, but I'm waiting for the fight. So yeah, it just helps me stand out. I like the color. I think it's vibrant, it's catchy, and helps my fans pick me out of a crowd.
Absolutely. And so when you look at old fight footage, if you don't have that color hair, you pretty much always know what years it could be from, right?
Yeah.
It makes sense. Anyway, you are from Canada. Love the Canadian people. We have a sponsor that has CBDA, and then I'll say from my Canadian friends, for my Canadian friends, it would be CBDAA. Because you say A right at the end, get it? Like, yeah. But anyway, really love the Canadian people. You guys are awesome fighters, super friendly people. I'm originally from Michigan, and we were right next to Windsor. As you probably know, you can get from through the tunnel or over the bridge if you're over there in Windsor to Michigan. What part of Canada did you grow up in? And I do know you actually, now that I'm remembering, you spent a lot of time going back and forth through Michigan. Would you go through the tunnel or over the bridge, or how would you get from Canada to Michigan to train? And where are you from in Canada?
Yeah, I'm actually from Windsor. So I was born in the Middle East in Baghdad, and we moved to Windsor. We got our visa, moved to Windsor, and we like basically I was raised in Windsor. And yeah, we crossed the border, the tunnel usually to I trained out of Michigan before I came to Texas. I was training in Michigan. I was training at a Final Round MMA in a place in Michigan. And yeah, constantly crossing the border, and with COVID and everything, it was really getting difficult to like make the drive, and then not having any training partners. So I needed a change, especially coming off of a horrible year. In my opinion, horrible year. I really need to give it everything I've got, make a change, and that's why I'm here in Texas.
Absolutely. And what's going on with the passport requirements between the U.S. and Canada? It used to be that there wasn't any needed on either side. Then I think it was that Canada was okay with us going over there, but we weren't okay with people coming back without a passport. How does it work now on both ends, people going from the U.S. to Canada and back?
So now, I know for a while it was just like your ID or your birth certificate, but now it's you need a passport to cross the border. And actually now with COVID restrictions, you need to have a valid work permit to cross the border.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so for the Mackenzie Dern fight, I wasn't able to cross the border at all for like the entire camp. So I wasn't able to get to my gym and actually train. And I was kind of training on my own. And then 2 weeks before the fight, less than 2 weeks before the fight, I got my work permit, and I was able to cross the border. So yeah, COVID has really messed things up.
It really has.
But, yeah, it really has. But we all went through it. Everyone has their situation with the whole COVID thing, and if that's all I went through, then that's cool, because a lot of people had it a lot worse than me.
Without a doubt, without a doubt. And you train a little bit with Michigan Top Team, is that right?
Oh, it's been a long time. It's been a really long time since I've been there.
SureDog still has that as your association, and not to try to throw SureDog under the bus, but man, they're making it hard. I almost wonder if they do it on purpose for other media people, because a lot of media people will look on their site to see the affiliation of the fighter, and it's wrong like 70% of the time. But anyway, there's some good guys over there. Cody Stamen's over there. We like him. He's got a big fight coming up, and so you've trained with some good people. So you're born over in Baghdad. I think you're Chaldean, right?
Yes, I'm Chaldean. A lot of people don't know what that is, but we're the Christians from the Middle East, and we're actually the original people from back when Jesus was on earth. I know a lot of people don't understand the history of Chaldeans, but we go way back, and we're kind of a dying breed. But if you're in California, you're in Michigan, you know what Chaldeans are.
Exactly. So. Yep. And I'm in California now, and I grew up in Michigan. I had a good friend who was a comedian, and he was a proud Chaldean guy, but really easygoing guy. I think he was born here. And once in a while, we would be like at a party, and he would say, watch this. He'd say, I'm going to explain to these guys that are stoned my background. And he said, watch their eyes, just kind of like no one can understand, especially if they're stoned. But he would always laugh. He'd say, I'll do that every time just to see if anyone can understand it. But it's true. It's a really cool people. And in Michigan and California, it's interesting, how they gathered there, but really, really good people. And then very few. And I think you say, is it even becoming less and less as time goes by?
Yeah, actually, for a long time, they've been persecuting us in the Middle East. They've been killing us off, and I have a few family members, actually a lot of family members that have been killed for being Christians, because we are Christian from the Middle East, which is not common.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know we even exist. So yeah, like we're dying off, and we're forced out of our own country. So we're kind of like spread out all over the place.
Yeah, I know the Armenian people are having that issue as well. And it's unfortunate. It's really terrible to think in this day and age that a minority religion would be being killed. It's obviously the world has kind of a history of something like that, but it's a terrible history, and it's a terrible thing, and it's insane. It's just, really, really a shame. I don't know. I mean, it's, hopefully something can be done. I think we lost the video. There we go. And but yeah, back in Iraq itself, it's bad for Chaldean people as well, or in other places.
In Iraq, yeah, especially in Iraq. There was a time, actually, it's happening right now. Actually, it's crazy because it's not exposed in the media at all. Like what's going on, it's happening today. Like we're sitting here, talking about racism and things that happened a long time ago. Like this is happening right now.
Yeah,
people need to, and it's not exposed in the media, and it's a shame because we need to do something about it. It's we should have the freedom to believe in whatever we want, and it's really sad to see and sad to hear, and it needs to be out there more.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. Are there any other Chaldean fighters in the UFC?
No, I think there is an Assyrian fighter, Benil Darish. He's an Assyrian fighter, which is similar to Chaldean.
Right.
But yeah, the only other person. I say we're the same, but Chaldean we're slightly different. I don't know. They kind of separated themselves a while ago, but yeah. But the crazy thing is, like, I was the first Middle Eastern. Well, no, Benil Darish is Middle Eastern too. So first female, anyways, and yeah, like our people are pretty tough, but people don't know this, but our women are way tougher than any man.
Nice.
to be honest. Have some tough ass women and some smart, really, really tough women who come from the Middle East, and people don't know that because we're kind of like hushed, they kind of shut us up and push us aside, but
yeah,
we're some badass in the Middle East.
Absolutely, without a doubt. And speaking of Benil Dariush, he's a friend of the show. We've had him on several times. In fact, I think either before or after his last 5 victories, we've had him on. And really good guy. Do you know him personally?
Yeah, actually, we did an event together. He's an awesome guy. He's always done a lot of good things, a lot of fundraisers and all that. I really, really admire that. He does a lot for his community, and he's an awesome guy.
He really is. He really, really is. I think he has like an orphanage and a charity in Haiti that he is making sure people are taken care of, and he's Christian and just a really, really good guy. So yeah, we like him.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, let's talk some fighting here. And I shouldn't say anyway like it's not important, but that is very important. But I didn't want to miss the chance to talk fighting with you, but I'm really glad we could share that because that's part of who you are and what you're about, and I hope people appreciate that. And we want people to get to know these fighters so you can see that they're more than just fighting. They love fighting and their focus is fighting, but they're not just every second of the day thinking only fighting. You know what I mean? So yeah. This is your chance to get to know Randa Markos, and we really appreciate you, Randa. So fighting, absolutely a tough year. A lot of people had a tough year in the pandemic, as you mentioned. Everything was not an ideal situation. Short notice fights. You fought some tough women. You've had some great fights. You've been in this game for a good while. You were on the Ultimate Fighter, I remember. What is that, like 9 years ago now or something?
I think it was I don't even know, maybe 7 years ago, something like that.
I like that you were so cool, and that they were like trying to bully you. It was like a Mean Girls situation, wasn't it? And even though you were just like a young puppy, you just did not let it get to you. Was that tough? You were like what, 25 or something like that, or 24 or whatever, and
I was like about 28, 27, 28. But I came to this country, to Canada, different from everybody else, right? I was from the Middle East, so I was raised differently. So I was always kind of weird to everybody. So I faced a lot of bullying and all that. So it wasn't different to me. When I was shocked at the way people acted. I honestly went in the show. I told myself, mind your own business and put your head down and take advantage of the situation. You're training with top girls from around the world, like top coaches. Take advantage of the situation. I went in there and I swear I tried to completely mind my own business, but some people can't handle quiet people. I noticed that. I realized that. Like, I sat back and watched how people reacted, and the more I didn't react, the more they got scared and worried. Like, what does she have? What does she have planned? And I was just minding my own business, and it actually worked against me. So yeah, it was a really, really tough show, like tough thing to go through, but I'm really, really blessed to be able to have that opportunity to train with the best. And I don't think I would have been here if it wasn't for the Ultimate Fighter. I wouldn't have been in the UFC if it wasn't the Ultimate Fighter to give me that opportunity.
Absolutely. And a lot of women from that episode of the Ultimate Fighter have stayed year after year after year after year. Were any of those women, you know, allies with you on the show, but we just didn't see the footage, or did any of them become acquaintance or friends, or at least not hated enemies?
Well, I was good friends with Joanne Calderwood, Alex Chambers, Ashleen Daly. We were all like really, really tight, really close. We trained hard. We took advantage of training and everything. As time went on, people kind of got into their groups and started hating. You know, as you start like seeing the threats in the competition, I think things really really changed once you started fighting. Like I fought Tisha, and they're like, "Who the hell is this girl?" Sorry. You know, they're like, "Who the hell is this girl coming out of nowhere, beating someone who everyone thought that was going to win the whole show?" And then that's when things started to change. And people started to feel threatened, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I remember is Conor McGregor showing up and surprising Ashling Daly. You remember that? What was that? What was it?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, so I was going to say, was that a really big surprise, or did everyone know about that? Or tell me how that happened and how surprised she was or people were.
Well, we just watched his fight. That was the only thing we were allowed to watch was the fight. So we just watched him win his fight, and then he came in and surprised Ashleen Daly, and she was like so surprised, so happy to see him. We were all really happy to see him. It was really cool to see him in person, and then just seeing his career blow up. You know, really that was like when he first people really first saw him get big, and then after that he just blew up. So it was really cool to see him at that stage.
Absolutely. Did you have any feeling he just had that kind of charisma and talent that he was going to blow up, or do you not even really make observations about other fighters?
Yeah, for sure. Like when he walks into a room, it's like, like his presence is there. Like, somebody great has just walked in. He just like walks around with that confidence that like, hey, I'm the shit. Like not a cocky. It was just like more like, I don't know, like a confident, like I know I have what it takes. I don't know. It's just a weird but he does you can feel that energy when he walks in the room.
Absolutely. Were you surprised when Ashling Daly retired? Was she just worried about getting hit in the head too much? Or she was older than most of you girls by a little bit, but I kind of thought there she was representing Ireland as the girl. And although she did have a couple of tough losses, I kind of thought she would, I don't know, maybe still not be in it in 2021, but it kind of seemed almost like abrupt and early. Was there anything you knew about it, or did it surprise you that she said that's it?
Yeah, it definitely did surprise me. She's a very tough chick, and we trained together on the Ultimate Fighter, and I felt like this chick is, she's tough, she's strong, she's gonna make it far. And then I got to fight her in the UFC a few fights later. I got to fight her, and I was like, fuck, like why did I have to fight her? And then and then she quits after, like a few fights later. She was a tough fight, and yeah, it's pretty. I felt like, that's too bad. That's a waste of talent to give up. Give up, like not give up, but to step away from the scene. But it is a tough sport, and at the same time, it is great, it is amazing, but you got to take care of yourself first. And I think she was having some issues. She talked about a few issues on the show. And you got to take care of yourself and make sure you're healthy, and that's at the end of the day, that's what matters the most.
Absolutely, without a doubt. So you have stayed strawweight the whole time here. Was there ever any temptation to think about flyweight, or is there now, or what's your thought been about that?
Actually, I've recently figured my weight out, and I've been walking around a lot lighter than usual. But there was a point where it was hard for me to get down to 115. I've only missed weight once, and it was because I decided to take on a different team's way of cutting, and it wasn't right for me. And I missed weight by a couple pounds, and I decided I'm gonna handle my own weight cut ever since then. it's been good. So, but there was a time when the Ultimate Fighter actually came up to me, contacted me, and asked me to do the 125 division of the Ultimate Fighter, and I had to turn it down, man. Like, I just, it was such a tough show the first time around. I didn't know if I could handle another round of the Ultimate Fighter, and plus being at a higher weight class that I haven't been in since I was amateur. So I had to turn that down.
Yeah, absolutely understood. So you have a fight coming up, I think, in a few weeks. Can you let us know the exact date and who your opponent is?
Yep, I'll be fighting March 27th. I'll be fighting Luana Pinheiro. She is coming off the Contender Series with a TKO. Very tough opponent, but I'm not worried. I've been out here at Travis Luter's gym, working with Kevin Holland, and trying to keep up with him and doing what I can to be better and better myself on a great show for you guys.
Absolutely. Is that going to be in Vegas or Abu Dhabi?
No, this one's in Vegas. They were talking about switching it to Texas. I'm hoping that it will happen, but I don't think it will. It's a little too soon.
Absolutely. But now Kevin is fighting before you. Kevin's on the 20th, I think, right?
Yeah, before.
And then you're on the 27th, you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be a big fight with Kevin. You're the wrestler, and Kevin's going up against a wrestler. Do you ever, I mean, obviously you all can help each other out, but with Kevin being a big man and you being kind of a smaller woman, I guess there's not too much that you can do. But do you ever say, hey, I got some wrestling, let me jump in with Kevin and show him some stuff? Or how does that work? He's a foot taller than you and a lot heavier.
Yeah. I think he's more than a foot taller than me, but no, we have Travis Luter there. A former UFC fighter who was a wrestler and a very good wrestler. And so, yeah, I don't think I could, where Kevin Holland is, I don't know. I'm a very, timid kind of person, and I don't like to say anything, but no, he doesn't need my help. He's doing just fine. And he's got Travis, he's got Coach Shug, he's got everybody behind him, helping him out. He's going to do just fine. I'm really, really excited to see this fight. He's coming up real fast. I'm not going to be surprised if I see him fighting for a title real soon, even after this. So I'm excited to see this fight.
Absolutely. Me too. And then your fight is a week after, and the girl's coming from the Contender Series. Does that have any effect? I mean, I'm sure there's maybe some secrets you may want to keep, but maybe not. Does that have any effect when you look at your opponent? Like if you were fighting someone who is a veteran like yourself that was on The Ultimate Fighter, or that's had, a dozen fights in the UFC, there really is no angle there on trying to think I'm going to just try to big sister this girl or whatever. But when you're fighting someone off the Contender Series, my thought is once in a while, someone in your position might have a strategy like, you know what, she's going to want to try to get comfortable. And why don't I just jump on her immediately so she doesn't have any chance to get comfortable, so that she doesn't have any chance to get rid of the nerves? Is that a strategy, or whatever you care to share? Does that seem like that might be a good strategy going up against someone who's making their debut?
Well, I am coming from a, very experienced background. I've fought pretty much all the girls in the top in my weight class. I do have a lot more knowledge than this girl, but you can never take anybody lightly. You can never underestimate anybody. But she seems hungry. She seems like in her last few fights, she's coming out wild, coming out quick, trying to finish the fight real quick. So that's one thing that we're expecting from her. We have a game plan. I'm not going to expose my game plan. Right. We're just working hard and figuring everything out, and just basically helping me have fun. That's one thing. Working with Kev, he likes to have fun. He likes to, everything's about feeling it out and moving and enjoying training, enjoying learning, enjoying everything. So I'm really trying to get into that groove and just enjoying what I'm doing and letting go and learning. And I just have to, be confident in myself going into this fight, and having a lot more training than I did in the last year.
Absolutely.
For this fight, I've got a lot of confidence going into this fight, and I just want to get there and show everybody what I can do.
Good. And then you got Justin Adams there. I know he is definitely a help, being a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, I think, working on black, and just being an easygoing guy. And, you know, love the fun videos he posts with his daughter. I mean, you know, you ever see any of those?
Yes, I do. He's another one of my cornermen. So it's going to be Justin, it's going to be Shug, and it's going to be Travis Luter in my corner, same as Kevin's corner. So it's really exciting to have these guys, like, and he's the one who actually talked to me about coming out to Texas, and like they just like welcomed me with open hands, and like it's awesome, like coming in and like not feeling like I don't belong. Like really, they're just like out here to help me and like do whatever it takes to make sure I get what I need. And it's an awesome environment, and I'm really happy to be here.
And it makes such a difference, doesn't it? Fighting is so much mental, and from what I've heard, that if you're happy and you feel like things are flowing, it just is a lot easier to kind of perform at the highest level, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, when you're not sure of your technique, which I've been in that situation in the past, you just freeze up and you're not able to let go. And that's what they've been working on. You know, Justin, everybody been telling me, like, you need to be confident, you need to go in there and just let go. And like, you have the skill, you have the technique, you just have to be confident in it. And it's like, whoa, you know, you're right. Like, you know, it's just like helping me be free and like enjoy it, and just, yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. Can I get your opinion on some other action in the women's division for the next maybe 5 minutes?
Sure.
Appreciate that. So this last card, we had Megan against Amanda, but wasn't there some other women's fight? Do you remember this past Saturday?
I did watch some of them. There's a girl here from Texas who fought.
Oh yes, it was. Oh,
Two girls out of Texas.
yeah, it was. You know what? It was kind of. Oh yeah. It was Lavina Souza against the other girl. I forget her name. Two Brazilians. Yeah, Souza against. Here we go. It was Lavina Souza against Lemos, Amanda Lemos. And they're 115 like you. Were you surprised about that fight? Lemos, I know, came down from 135 and had a couple of wins against, you know, a couple of girls that were pretty good. But Souza was just killing it in Invicta. And I thought Souza was just going to, like, really take it to her. And I don't know. But then I also thought that fight got stopped a little quick there. Do you remember watching that fight? Any opinion on that?
I missed that one. That was earlier on.
Early prelims, that's right. No problem. And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
main event, were you surprised at all? Probably not in the main event result. Huh?
I just feel like Amanda Nunes has been around for so long. She's so strong. She's got amazing hands. And I just feel like Megan Anderson, she just didn't have the experience, you know? And because there's nobody in the weight class, you know, she gets bumped up and gets to fight for the title. I didn't think that was right, but you know, there's no one in the weight class, so what are you gonna do? But yeah, I that Amanda Nunes was going to do well in that fight.
Yeah, and that was such an interesting finish, like from the backpack position, a triangle. I'm a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and I've trained on and off for a little while, and I got that, I think, a couple times on someone that was maybe just got to my belt, or someone who was just really not being smart with their movement. But I almost kind of feel like you get that on someone if you're just way better than them, you know. I don't know. What
if
do you
you
think?
Shots to the head, you know, if you're a black belt, they say every shot, you know, brings you down a belt.
Yep.
You know, hit her with a few shots before she hit the ground, so
Soften her up.
Soften her up and makes it easier to get those submissions.
Makes sense. All right, let me ask you about the upcoming card here. Let me ask my producer, Dr. Adam Roorda, if he can switch the upcoming card, because I think there's a couple of women's fights here that you're familiar with. So we have, and that's the main, so it's got to be prelims. We have an interesting one, Angela Hill and Ashley Yoder. Have you fought either of them or both of them? I think you have, right?
Yeah, I fought both of them. That's a good matchup. I think that's a really good matchup. If it stays standing, I think Angela Hill's got a really good chance of winning that fight. I think if it goes to the ground, definitely Yoder's going to win that fight.
Does it make sense to you that the odds makers have it like 3-1 favorite for Hill? To me, I don't think that makes a lot of sense.
No, I don't think that makes sense at all because yes, Hill looked really good against uh Claudia Gadella. She did look good against Claudia Gadella. I
Yep.
just think Claudia Gadella's been going,
Yeah.
has not been performing like she used to. So and then also I don't think Claudia has the striking that Angela Hill does, but I also don't think that Ashley Yoder does. So I don't know, but I don't think um, um, Hill has the ground game like Yoder does.
No.
So this is a really sorry. It's a really tricky matchup because I feel like one is so much higher on end. Oh, sorry, one end of the game, and then the other is higher on the other end of the game. So, but I heard that Ashley Yoder's been going to different, has been working on her striking. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I think so. I think Ashley is a live dog in that fight. We've had her on the show. She's such a cool person. She goes by the Spider Monkey, and then she also goes by Spider Monkey Yoda because of her last name Yoder. She's a pretty funny, upbeat chick, and I like her. Nothing against Angela Hill because she seems like she's all right too. But yeah, I think that should be closer. What do you think about Courtney Casey, JJ Aldrich at flyweight? And I think Courtney had one fight at flyweight against Jillian, and she was in that fight, but I think Jillian just was too big and strong for her. And then I think JJ Aldrich has maybe had one fight. It's kind of weird that you have two women that are essentially strawweights at flyweight, but my feeling is the advantage goes to, I think, the bigger girl who's Courtney Casey. But I don't know if you fought either of them, but can I have your thoughts and maybe a breakdown and a prediction if you have it on that?
Yeah. I did fight Courtney Casey. I didn't do well against Courtney. She does have a good ground game, but I don't know. It didn't get to. We didn't go like the distance, so I didn't get to see too much of Courtney. But I don't know the other girl too well, so I'm not sure about that fight. But
No problem.
Courtney is big. She doesn't look like a 115er when you're right next to her. She's a tall girl, and she's like, she's pretty like I don't know. She doesn't look like a 115er at all. So, but that weight, like being 125 and 115, is a huge difference.
Yeah.
So, if you see Joanne Calderwood, Joanne Calderwood at 115, she looks, scary, but like at 125, that girl is a beast at 125.
Yeah.
So, that weight is a huge difference.
Absolutely. Speaking about Joanne, I think now she deserves to be the one going against Valentina. Can JoJo do something against her if she has a full camp? What do you think? I know JoJo's your friend. I think she's such a cool person. It's funny, as you remember, she went from like super shy and like low key, and now she's still like kind of soft spoken, but she's got herself looking all sexy with her hair and the outfits she wears. Like it seems like she's come out of her shell with just like kind of maturity and like that. I don't know, but I like her. What do you think about that, and what do you think about her thought and chances against Valentina?
I think that'll be a great matchup. I think Joanne Calderwood has a different style for
Valentina.
Valentina to face. I think it's a very different style. She's more of like a Muay Thai striking, and her striking is like you can't see it coming. It's really fast. So I think that will be a really good matchup to see like how well like Valentina can handle a different style than what she's used to. I don't think anyone else has come forward to Valentina with that style. But
Right.
I also think Valentina is a freaking beast. Like she's one of my absolute favorite fighters, and she just seems like she's unstoppable. But everyone is beatable.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Everyone has two arms and two legs. Two last fight questions. Amanda, to me, the only woman that could, I think, give her something. Well, I know Felicia Spencer's been on our show. I think she didn't have a lot of notice for that fight. Not that it would make a huge difference, but Felicia's super strong. Like Amanda kept throwing punches, right up the pipe, square on her jaw. Felicia would not stop coming. I just don't know if she has the firepower with the hands. I think, though, I'd like to see it. But if we're talking about the person that most fight fans think could be interesting, would be if Amanda fought her teammate Kayla Harrison. And I think you may have watched Kayla. She's just like ragdolling women wherever she goes. She was at 155 until her last fight, and her last fight I think was in Bellator and Invicta, and she just beat this girl to a bloody pulp. She's so big, she's so strong. Her, you know, her judo is what, 2 gold medalists. If they made that fight and it was at 45, do you think Kayla's got some shot?
No.
No, wow.
I'm sorry.
Still.
I stand by my Canadian teammate, or not teammate, but my fellow Canadian. I think she's more of an MMA style. I've watched the other girl in a few fights. I think she's good. I think she's great. I don't think she's there yet. I think like I watched her go to the ground, and I didn't like her ground game. At that time, it was New Year's 2 years ago maybe, but you know, it's been a long time. Not last New Year's, New Year's before, and I think that Spencer's ground is far more superior than
Amanda.
Kayla.
Makes sense. What if Amanda went against her teammates? What if Kayla Harrison went against Amanda though?
Amanda, are you talking about Amanda Nunes?
Yes.
Amanda Nunes, 1,000%.
Wow.
I don't know. Amanda's untouchable. I think the only person that is gonna beat Amanda Nunes, I'm telling you right now, you gotta make this fight happen. Valentina Shevchenko.
Right.
All she's doing. Valentina is just keeps fighting people in her division to make her stronger and stronger and stronger. When that time comes to fight Amanda Nunes, she's gonna destroy Amanda Nunes.
It'll be at 35, right? It'll have to be at 35, obviously, right?
Whatever weight class it is, I think that, well, yeah, through 135. I think that Valentina Shevchenko is just sharpening up her tools, and when she gets another shot with Amanda Nunes, she's going to win, and it's not going to be a decision.
Wow, would be.
She's so sharp. She's just, every time she fights, she just looks so sharp. Yeah,
she's so cool too, and that would be a fun fight. Last one, how about the match that I think is signed, Rose Namajunas against Wei Li Zhang. Rose was on the show with you, I think, right? 7 years ago?
Yep.
And I think Rose put it on social media saying something like, you guys asked for this, you're wanting this, good, we're on. You know, and it's funny because for a minute it almost seemed like Rose didn't want that fight. And I know Rose has had her issues to go through. She's an amazing person. She had a hard childhood, I think, also, you know, Lithuanian and other stuff that, you know, that but she's an old school good person, an old school tough girl. What's your thoughts on her, and how do you think that matchup goes with the champ, Zhang Weili?
Well, I got to know her a little bit from The Ultimate Fighter, so as a person, I don't care for her, but as an athlete, I think she's amazing. I think the matchup, you know, if she's very smart and she's very good at figuring people's style out and everything. And I think that if she can figure out Weili's Muay Thai style and use it against her, I think if anyone's going to beat her, I think Rose has a really good chance, because Rose is a good striker. She's very lengthy, and she can use her length to her advantage to keep Weili at her reach and take her out. I think that's a really good, and I really think that Rose will have a good the best shot right now.
Absolutely. Do you think if Tatiana Suarez comes back, she'd be right in the mix with her wrestling?
Oh yeah, but you know, she's been out for a little while, but yeah, she's a beast, and it's sad to see that she was out for a while, but I think she's getting ready to come back. I forgot about her. But yeah, she's undefeated.
Yeah, she's scary. She was just like ragdolling the girls in there, like, what the hell, you know what I mean? You know.
Yeah.
And
she's built different.
She really is. She's like big, long, you know, strong, and you know, she's tough. It's funny about Amanda Nunes. Her wife, her partner Nina, was the one that gave the toughest contest to Tatiana Suarez. Do you think Nina can come back from? Yeah, it was a tough fight. You can go look. That was Tatiana's last fight, I think.
Yes.
Were you saying you didn't see that fight?
No, I didn't see that fight. I didn't even know they fought.
Yeah.
I fought. She had a very good game plan against me. She just took out my front leg, and they fight very smart. Like they figure your opponent out, which is that's. I'm not surprised that she was able to figure out Tatiana, but I gotta watch that fight.
Yeah, you should. It was a really, really good fight. I think Nina was either winning earlier and then Tatiana came on her. I think maybe it might have been the reverse. I think Tatiana was kind of winning, but then Nina started stepping up. Either way, Nina definitely won at least a round or two, and that was a tough fight. Can Nina come back from having a kid, and do you think she'll want to come back to be an active fighter now that they have their daughter?
I think that she's booked for a fight already.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure I saw it somewhere that she's booked for a fight. I forget who she's fighting, but we've seen it before. I mean, lots of girls have done it. But I think these women need to get more credit than they do. Like coming back from having a kid to a sport like this, that's amazing. I think these women need a lot more credit than that, than they get. Yeah, I definitely can see her coming back. I mean, fighting is in their blood. Like her and her wife are amazing fighters, and I feel like their kids are going to be an amazing fighter. Like this is what they do. So
absolutely,
yeah, I think she'll continue.
And I'm with you 100%. And I know we had Misha Tate on a few weeks ago, and she is thinking about coming back, and she has 2 kids now. And yeah, and you had mothers like Sarah McMahon, and it is really a thing that women should be given a lot of credit for. Coming back after having your body kind of wrecked, so to speak, from having a child is amazing. And then not only that, but like Sarah McMahon comes back and she's got like a ripped 6-pack. It's funny because I had a female friend of mine saying, wow, these MMA women are coming back from a pregnancy and not only insisting that they have to remain fat, but they actually are like 6-pack shredded. And she said it kind of puts the onus on a lot of women to not be able to say, once I'm pregnant and give birth, I have to be fat for the rest of my life, because you really don't, do you?
Yeah, it's just not even just that. It's just like getting back in shape and seeing that it's such a struggle to come back and do like something like MMA, continue it. I think a lot of people look at that and like, oh, actually I looked at it like that. Like I'm like, man, I can't have a kid right now because I want to continue fighting. And then you see all these women having kids and coming back, and I'm just like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like that's awesome. I really give a lot of credit to these women. And they're coming back not just like, they're coming back better than, I feel like their bodies look better than they were before.
Without a doubt. Yeah, and I didn't mean to put a negative spin on it. I shouldn't have. I think I phrased it wrong, especially here on, I think, International Women's Month. It's not that the other women are looking for excuses to stay fat. I didn't really mean it that way, but it is all power and credit to women MMA fighters to be able to come back from something that most women, find it a challenge. And men, I'm sure, would as well if they were to have kids. For you got women to come back from giving birth and to be in amazing shape, it's a testament to the determination of MMA fighters. And I've always been a big fan of women's MMA, following it for many years, to where I would get VHS tapes from Japan and I would watch Marloes Kunin fight in like 2000 in Japan in the remix Smack Girl Cup. And I've been following it. Just big respect for you guys for so many years. Nina is actually fighting Mackenzie Dern. Interesting fight there. What do you think?
That's a great fight. I think I don't know. Both really good fighters. Fought both girls. Man, I fought literally everybody. I think it depends on. I don't know.
It's gonna be interesting.
Nina has a really good training partner. She's really good on the ground too. I think their hands, I think, would be equal, but I think Nina's kicks, I think that if she utilizes her kicks in that fight and just chops Mackenzie Dern down, I think she will take the fight.
Absolutely, but there's definitely some amazing fights going on coming up. Your fight is amazing, and we're talking March 27th in Las Vegas, and your opponent is what, Luana Pinheiro or something?
Yeah.
So
yes, Luana.
Yeah, I am really looking forward to seeing you at your best, Randa. I've been a fan for many years. I like your attitude. I like your focus. Growing up in Michigan, Canadians were always all over, and always loved you guys. Just seem to be like the friendlier, better version of us Americans sometimes. So big respect for you guys. I'm so glad you're over there with a great team. Kevin Holland and Travis Luters, Justin Adams. Can't wait to see you fight and go get that win. We'll be cheering for you here. Thank you so much for taking the time to jump on with us here at the MMA Power Hour.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. You have a great night.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye. And that was the Quiet Storm, Randa Markos. Super nice woman, right, Adam? And so much experience. She's been there for so many years in the Ultimate Fighter 2015. So many of those women have stayed up at that high level. She's really honest. She mentioned she doesn't really like, because Rose Namajunas was part of the Mean Girls that actually weren't that nice.
I was interested. I was waiting for you to ask more about it, but yeah, I get it.
It's been gone over for many years. I mean, I think, you know, a couple of those girls have come out. Felice Herrig and some other girls were. Angela Magana was the queen Mean Girl, but she hasn't been relevant in the UFC for several years or fighting there. But yeah, I think time has gone by there. But Randa's cool. Randa is a tough Canadian. She's a Chaldean person. All respect to them. Very few have a guy I know, a friend from that background, and good people, and hopefully their people are not killed or continue to be victimized for being a minority. Where they are. Hate to see any sort of victimization based on your beliefs, because that's not right. But Randa Markos, can't wait to see you win. Justin Adams, thank you so much, brother. Big respect to you. Can't wait to see Kevin Holland fight. Can't wait to see you guys kill it. Dr. Adam Roorda, we only have maybe 5 minutes left.
Not even. Yeah. We've got about 2 minutes here, Colin.
You take it.
And I want to go ahead and say thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of MMA Power Hour. Feel the Power with Colin, Crandall, and myself, Adam Roorda. We have a bunch of amazing partners, and you guys should definitely show some love, show some support to the show. First one I want to throw out is the best coffee in the world. You can get it over at mymochatribe.com, and on checkout use discount code MMAPower10 for a 10% discount. Literally, this is the best coffee you'll ever have. Again, mymochatribe.com, discount code MMAPower10.
Yes, take that to get your money off a great product here. And looking at some stuff here, it's too blurry for me to read. But
yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah, Jay, really appreciate your contribution. Thank you so much for the guests here. We're gonna work on getting
Chase,
and I'm sure he had said he's going to make sure that if it didn't work tonight, he will be available to us. So I'll go out now and say we'll have Chase Sherman, the Vanilla Gorilla, the big man, the heavyweight, next week.
And if we have to do a pre-record this weekend, I would like to do it. I would like to get him on, because this is a few times. Let's make sure to make it happen.
We will.
Next week,
we will make it
another.
happen. So one way or the other, and he'll probably be able to be live with us. He really said it, that other than tonight, everything looks good over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, we'll make it happen. So Chase Sherman for next week. We're going to get a couple other great guests there as well, from the UFC, maybe even a master of martial arts from years ago, and a former kickboxing champion, and one of the best karate guys coming just after the Chuck Norris era. We may be able to have on the show with us. We haven't had him for a couple of years, but we'll leave him. His name is a secret, and hopefully have him and some other amazing people on. Thank you guys so much for everything. Jay, I'm reading now where you say you'll spread
absolutely spread the word for us. And guys, go on over to Nesa's Hemp as well and get yourself a nice discount. They're working with us, partnered up, get some full spectrum, the only on the market, CBDA hemp oil. It has so many benefits. I can't even list them all off. Well over 1,000 benefits. If you use it, you'll feel it right away. It's mmaph.nesashemp.com. It's the largest discount you'll find for this product out there. Everybody's talking about it. It is literally the hottest CBD and hemp product out there. It's actually CBDA. Check it out.
Yep, absolutely. It really is that. And then for your full spectrum MMA news and information, get it right here on Fight TV and Hannibal TV with the MMA Power Hour every Wednesday from 6 to 8. Thank you for saying to tell the friends. Jay, Dr. Adam Roorda, you're tapping out, right?
Well, I was just saying, it's #1 MMA show out there. Everybody knows it.
#1, man. This is as full spectrum as you can get, baby. Really appreciate it. Dr. Adam Roorda.
Now I'm tapping out.
Now he's tapping out. Thank you for all your help and your great contribution here. And finally, I'm signing off early where I won't get cut off at the end here. So I will let you guys know we appreciate you so much. Big respect and big love to all of the friends of our show. I want you to go out and tell someone you got their back. You love them, you like them, whatever. Your parents, your kids, your brothers, your sisters, even your coworkers, even if you're working from home. Take good care of your animals. Unconditional love is what they offer. Make sure they have cold water, fresh food, and a warm place to stay when it's cold.